Hello, welcome to another conversation lesson. Let's get right to it. Let me just open our Ingu website. As I always mention to you guys, you can come here by yourself or with a friend, work through some of the articles. Let's see, what shall we read today? Celebrities you probably didn't know use stage names. All right, let's have a look at this one. Be curious. Vin Diesel, surely Vin Diesel. Vinny Diesel? I don't know. Maybe everything's fake name. But let's get going with the vocabulary first. So as I always mention, I'll read the words, the definition, and the example sentence. You can hit pause after each one. Read it out loud. Make sure you pronounce it out loud. You have to get used to making the sounds. All right. So don't just read it in your mind. Say it out loud. Speak. All right. First one, stepfather. A man married to someone's mother who is not their biological father. A lot of people think I look like my stepfather, which is strange because we're not related. The next one, burn. To use something as a form of fuel or energy. Using an exercise ball burns a lot more energy than sitting on a normal office chair. Next one, avoid. To stay away from or stop oneself from doing something, to stop something from happening. I'm trying to avoid fatty foods because I just started a new diet. They have another example. Germany narrowly avoided defeat in their first match of the tournament. Then we have confusion, the state of not understanding something. There was a great deal of confusion in the crowd as to why the player was given a red card. Then we have reinvent, to change something so that it appears to be very different and new. Netflix started as a DVD rental service but has reinvented itself as a streaming service. Then we have remind, to make a person remember someone or something. This teddy bear reminds me of my childhood. Okay, so let's go right to the article. Again, I'm going to read the whole article at once. You can hit pause after each little paragraph and read it out loud yourself. Again, make sure to say it out loud. Try and speak, pronounce the words, get the pronunciation down. And if you're not sure, you can just skip back a little bit, listen again, and then try again till you're comfortable with it. So let's go. Celebrities you probably didn't know use stage names. You might not know the name Mark Sinclair, but if you've heard of the Hollywood actor Vin Diesel, then you know who Mark Sinclair is. They're the same person. Sinclair started using the name Vin Diesel when he worked in security at a nightclub because he didn't want people to know his real name. He named himself Vin after his stepfather's surname Vincent, and Diesel because he had a lot of energy, so his friends joked that his body must be burning diesel. When he started acting, he decided to keep the name. Vin Diesel isn't the only celebrity who use a different name, though. In fact, it's quite common. Stage names are often used to avoid confusion. Maurice Joseph Micklewhite, who the world knows as the actor Michael Caine, used Michael Scott at the start of his career, but another actor in London was already using that name, so he changed his stage name to Michael Caine. Albert Brooks is an actor and filmmaker known for films like Drive and Finding Nemo, but his real name is Albert Einstein. You can probably guess why he chose a different stage name. Other people change their names to reinvent themselves, like Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanotta, whose stage name Lady Gaga was inspired by the Queen song Radio Gaga. Or Marilyn Monroe, who grew up as Norma Jean Baker. According to the Time, Marilyn was chosen by Ben Leon, who worked at 20th Century Fox. He said Norma Jean reminded him of Broadway star Marilyn Miller, and Monroe was her mother's surname before marriage. Okay, there we go. We have a lot of actors there. So Natalie Portman is Natalie Hirschlag. Okay, Bruno Mars, Peter Jean Hernandez. Yeah, it's kind of catchy. Bruno Mars sounds better. Elton John, Reginald Kenneth Dwight. Yeah. Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean Baker. Norma Jean Baker also sounds pretty good, actually. Then Bob Dylan, Robert Allen Zimmerman. Yeah. Katy Perry, Catherine Elizabeth Hudson, Lady Gaga, Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanotta. That's a mouthful. David Bowie, David Robert Jones. David Jones should have been good too, right? And then Jackie Chan, Kong Sang Chan, Kong Sang Chang. Okay. And Brad Pitt, William Bradley Pitt. Will Pitt, Will Pitt, Brad Pitt, William Pitt. I don't know. All right. Well, let's go to our questions here. And these are questions related to the article. Ooh, I'm going to read through them. I'd like you to answer it. Try and remember what we just read about. I do terrible at these. Then I'm going to try and answer it myself. Like I say, my short-term memory is horrible. And then we'll go back and have a look at the answers. So number one, why did Vin Diesel start using a stage name? You remember? Number two, what is Michael Caine's real name? And number three, what Queen song inspired the name Lady Gaga? Remember these? All right. So why did Vin Diesel start using a stage name? I think he said because he was a bouncer and he didn't want to use his real name for security reasons. So he just didn't want to use his real name. Michael Caine's real name. Oh, I'm terrible with names. I'm really numbers and names. So Michael, wasn't it also Michael something something? It's just the Caine is different. And what Queen song inspired the name Lady Gaga? So Radio Gaga. Well, let's see. Vin Diesel. So Vin Diesel worked as a yeah. Vin Diesel worked in security at a nightclub because he didn't want people to know his real name. Yeah, he doesn't want to use his real name. Okay, then number two, Michael Caine's real name. Michael Caine used Maurice Joseph Micklewhite. Okay, so not even Michael. I was wrong with that one completely. Maurice Joseph Micklewhite, Michael Caine. But he used Michael Scott at first, so the Michael, he just changed the Caine later. But it's completely different, actually. All right. And then the Queen song for Lady Gaga and Queen song Radio Gaga. There we go. So did you get all of them? Better than me, because like I say, man, names. If I ever meet you and I see you again, don't expect me to remember your name. I'm gonna forget your name. Okay, so let's go to the discussion. Again, I'm gonna read the question. I'll answer it. You can hit pause before I answer it or after. You can listen to my answer first and then respond to that, add something or say you don't agree with it or whatever you want to comment on mine. Or you can answer first and then listen to my answer, see if we have similar ideas without my answer obviously influencing yours. So, or whatever you feel comfortable with, chop and change it. Let's start. Number one, were you aware that the celebrities in the article use stage names? Michael Caine, I thought Michael Caine was his real name. Lady Gaga, I knew was a stage name. Vin Diesel, I never thought about Vin Diesel, but if you had to ask me, I would probably think it's a stage name. Vin Diesel just doesn't sound, like I said in the beginning, Vinny Diesel could probably, but if I had to put money on it, I would have said that's a stage name too. But Michael Caine was quite surprising. Number two, which of the celebrities above would you most like to meet? Oh, to meet. Let me just look again. Um, Maybe Jackie Chan. If I had a choice, I would probably go for Jackie Chan just because he's an icon and he's made so many movies and so many films that I love, and he just seems like a straightforward guy. But I heard he might be a bit snobbish. I'm not sure, but again, when you see him in interviews and things like that, he seems very down to earth. So I don't know. You never know what you hear online. But I'd probably pick Jackie Chan. Number two, which of the celebrities? Oh no, that's what I just did. Number three, would you want to use a stage name if you became a famous actor? Um, I wouldn't want to. I'd probably be stubborn about it. I probably wouldn't, even though my surname is very difficult for people to pronounce. So my name Anton. Anton's not a common name, but it's not that difficult, Anton. But my surname is Van der Merwe. Like it's got a Dutch origin. So my father's side, I don't know how many generations back, they came from the Netherlands. So English, a lot of English people have a hard time with pronouncing Van der Merwe, especially the Merv. Some people like Merv, Merve. Yeah. So they might ask me to change it, but I probably wouldn't because I'm just stubborn like that. I, yeah. A lot of people always like, oh, change your name. It's just a name. It's like, no, that's the name my parents thought of. That's what they wanted to give me. That's what they wanted to name me. So I'll respect their decision and use my name. If you don't like it, don't like it. It's not my problem. Number four, if you had to pick a new name for yourself, which would you choose? I wouldn't pick a new name for myself. Like even though because especially every year I have to fill in a lot of forms for visas and things like that because I'm living in Thailand at the moment. So and it's so many forms I have to fill in, and my name, like Anton, my middle name's Louis van der Merwe. So it's like this long Anton Louis van der Merwe on every page, everywhere. So every year I tell my wife, it's like, man, couldn't I just be in a John Smith or like a Brad Pitt? It's so easy, just Brad Pitt. It's like Anton Louis van der Merwe. It's crazy. Um, yeah. So probably something short. I would go for something short, but if I had to change it. Have you ever been given a nickname by your friends or family? Yes. When I was young, when I was in primary school, they called me Widget, which was like a cartoon character back in the days about this. It was like a little purple alien. And I don't know why they said I looked like Widget. I don't know where it came from or how it came about, but many years people called me Widget. And I've got some very close friends. Um, yeah, no, yeah, I'm not gonna go into that one. And then when I was cycling, some people called me Wombat because I was a little bit chubby, and I don't know why it was just kind of they a lot of times in sports teams they try and find some not insulting but some words to make fun of a person, and kind of like a stick as a nickname. So I was called Wombat for a while, and yeah, those are the ones that stuck. But most, yeah, Widget was maybe the one that stuck the longest. All right, number five, or exercise five, further discussion. Number one, if you were to have a baby, what names would you consider? Oh man, uh, if I don't know. If it's a boy, I always thought like, give him. like a junior, like Anton Louis van der Merwe, the same name as me, but just a junior. But then that's not very original. Um, so I don't know. I would have to sit down and think about it for a long time. But probably something kind of unique, something different. I wouldn't pick just a regular name like a John or a Joe or something. Even though I wouldn't mind that for myself. Number two, what are your favorite English names? Why do you like them? I don't really care for a name. My favorite English names, um, probably like a John, because it's just a very easy, simple, common name, you know, just something easy. The older I get, the more I want simplicity. So just don't give me overcomplicated things, John. Number three, is your name common where you live? How and why did your parents choose it? So, Anton, it's fairly common in South Africa, more common than in the rest of the world. Although I, because I've got some students in Russia, and funny enough, we were talking about family members and talking about names and whatever. And the one student was like, "Your whole family, like all your siblings, are name has Russian names." Because my name is Anton. Anton is like a very German, not a Russian name. My sister is Tanya, so Tanya is also very Russian, and my brother is Andrei, which is also a very Russian name. So it's kind of, and I asked my mom after I spoke to the student about this, and she didn't even realize it either. It's like, oh wow, yeah, that's actually true. Um, so yeah, but my name is fairly common in South Africa. And how did my parents choose it? It was named after Anton Rupert or some wealthy guy or something. It was somebody because my second name is Louis, so it's Anton Rupert and Louis Late. I don't re I some it was named after some famous people, but I don't know exactly who they are, what they did that was so unique. Number four, do you know anyone with a memorable, unique, or unusual name? Mm, my wife. Yeah. Um, even though she doesn't, in Thailand, a lot of people, my wife's Thai, a lot of people have their Thai names and then they have nicknames. And so my wife's Thai name is Busaba, but nobody calls her Busaba because her nickname is Arm. So most people call her Arm. But I would because I usually would be like sweetie or have like a nickname. But then if we're out in public and I want to call her, you can't just shout sweetie because then half the people would look at you like because so many people say like sweetie. Um, so I would just like Busaba. Yeah, so I would call her by that name. Um, but most people don't though. Yeah. All right, number five. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Dale Carnegie. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, that is kind of, I thought about that once. Like, for example, the name Anton, that's my name. That's what I identify with. And that's whenever you see it, it's like, "Oh, that's my name." But to other people, it's just like I mentioned so many times, John before. But there's somebody that might be listening whose name is John, or maybe not because most people are non-native speakers, but maybe there's somebody that uses the nickname John or whatever. But whenever they hear the word, it's like, hey, that's my name. So it's very important to this person. Um, yeah. And that's why I also think you shouldn't change your name. That's what you've been named with or blessed with. So be proud of it. Use it. Okay. Well, that is it then, guys. So let's stop this. And yeah, that's it for today. Keep practicing, keep working hard. See you guys next time. Bye bye.